Well, hello. The subject of my video for the 1st of July is a difficult one. It's a question. What is truth? I used to believe that truth was conceptual. In other words, that it was a vision of something not yet made real in the physical world. Like many, I was sold that bill of goods by the usurpers who stole earth from the alleged creator. These usurpers not only played by different rules, they made up whatever rules would serve their purpose of controlling creation for their own benefit. Telling lies based on false hope was very effective. People wanted to believe there was a loving God who had a plan, yet lifetime followed lifetime, century gave way to new centuries, and this went on for millennia. Nothing changed, except it got progressively worse, or communication got better. As I see it now, the truth is that we've been lied to our entire lives. There are still promises of a better world, and perhaps even signs that the evil world is dying. However, until the game plan of evil entities is actually stopped, the world will keep being unjust and dishonest. That's the truth of experiential reality, like it or not. Truth is not something hoped for. That's the deception. Truth cannot be in the future, only in the present. As I said, this is a difficult subject because it undermines things that I've believed my entire life. I've conceptually believed that I was, for example, born for the purpose of helping to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. I've had that vision since I was a boy. Before I even turned 10 years old, I was 7 or 8 years old when it began to dawn on me, and it unraveled at a greater pace when I got my teenage years, and it's continued throughout my life. And I kept putting it in the future, in the future. Well, when 2011 gets here, it's going to change. When 2012 gets here, it's going to change. And we're finally going to have the kingdom of heaven on earth. Well, 2011 came, and so he was not correct in his assessment. So, and I forget the guy's name. I always forget his name. I don't know why he died. He died at a fairly young age, but he was an excellent teacher. But anyway, he said it was going to be by 2011 and the fall of 2011. And I started my videos in January 2011. It didn't happen then. I thought, well, he got it wrong. Ian Lungold, that's who I'm referring to. The name just came to me. But in any case, 2012 came and went, and it still didn't happen. And I had things happen in my life that showed that I wasn't protected. The big one, of course, came when I had my house stolen. That didn't even have a mortgage on the house. And my own banker said they can't take a mortgage on one property and move it to another property. But that's exactly what they did. They aren't allowed to do it. Even my banker told me that you can't do that, but they did it. And so I had all these things happen, and then I almost died. And I went through all of this turmoil, so I've had to reassess. Somebody said, I shared a video recently that I had made in 2012, in March 2012. And I think it's my nephew said to me, "It's not what you were saying then." No, it's not. I believed the stuff that I was taught as a child, and I grew up thinking that God was going to bring his kingdom to earth. And how would I know when that happened? Well, for one thing, the evil would not be here anymore. It would be run by demons, in other words. But it's still run by demons. Now, are there signs of change? Yes, there are. Are there promises? Yes, there are, but promises are meaningless. Promises of the future are meaningless, folks. The only thing that's meaningful is the here and now. That's meaningful. Future doesn't exist. God isn't I will be. God is identified as I am, that I am. And now is the time, now is the day of salvation. Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Again, I've memorized lots of scriptures, but things that are put off into the future create a false hope. And even the faith chapter, chapter 11, it goes on to cite individual example after individual example in that long chapter 11 of Hebrews. And it says, all these died in the faith, receiving not the promise. Oh boy, that's not what I need. Oh, I realized what that was. For some reason, the alarm got set on my alarm clock, and it's noon, and it was just beeping. I don't even know. I didn't remember setting it, but that's what happened. That's what that noise was. But anyway, I mean, I've gone through my entire life believing what I was taught, and it wasn't just something that came from external, because I rejected a lot of things that I was taught as well, especially the concept that this is the whole truth. I've never bought that, because I've always been an explorer. And if somebody wanted me to, if my parents or minister or Sunday school teachers wanted to get me to not look at something, the worst thing they could do is tell me you're not allowed to look at that. Well, that made it all the more, gave me all the more curiosity of what's there that they don't want me to see. And so I studied Herbert W. Armstrong, I think was the first one that I went into. Herbert W. Armstrong's revelations, or what teachings, whatever you want to call them. And I proceeded from that to many, many, many other things. I studied all the denominations, all of the so-called cults. I went to Mormon churches. I went to Seventh-day Adventist things. Jehovah's Witnesses. I sat down with Jehovah's Witnesses and had discussions. I went to all different kinds of denominations in the Christian religion. I did a lot of things because I was curious and I wanted to learn. But if I've learned anything, I've learned that truth is the present moment. That's the only thing that's true. That's the only thing that you can count on now, the here and now. You can't count on the tomorrow and the future, the promises of God or the promises of some prophet or some saint. Those are meaningless until they are fulfilled. Now, I believe we need to work toward the fulfillment of those things, but we have to do that in the now. And we can't say the kingdom of heaven is here. It's not here yet on earth. It's not here. The cabal still runs the show in the United States anyway, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the world too. Are there signs of cracking? Yes, there are. Has it cracked? No, it hasn't. It's not come down yet. So these are the things that I wrestle with, and I'd like to find resolution. I'd like to be able to present something that gives you better hope. But hope, what's the word? Somebody said, I forget what it was, but they made a mockery out of the word hope. People that just hope, it never comes true. Anyway, there's a lot to be explored, and I encourage you to try to keep a positive attitude that something good is being worked out in the present moment that's going to change our future. I hope so. Thank you for listening. Namaste.